Hi, Sharon. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon.
No problem, thank you for being here.
Well, Bleed Out explores global injustices and the tumultuous state of the world. How has this approach impacted the band's composition process and musical choices?
Well, I think the sound is more aggressive, I guess, and the emotions are a bit more intense. I think it's the most intense album that we've made. Not particularly like we'll never be like a Sepultura heaviness band, but in our own way, it's the heaviest album we've produced so far.
What were the main challenges in creating an album with such intense and politically engaged themes?
Sorry, what did you say?
What were the main challenges in
Oh,
creating?
yeah.
Yeah.
Main challenges. Well, actually, this was strangely enough an album that was really easy to write for us because it was so close to our emotion, I guess, and we really just let our frustration and our emotions just out. It was the album was really written in a very quick matter of time. I think just only 2.5 months the whole album was written, scattered over a whole year, of course, because we were going on tour and doing other stuff in between. But every time we wrote, there was always songs coming out, and there's so much to write about also, of course. And so it was an easy album to write for us, and so it wasn't there were hardly any challenges, to be honest. Of course, the only challenge was like that we want to have a certain sound, and that we had to try out that in the studio a lot with the drums and and guitars also sometimes, and making it more interesting, having more more string guitared kind of guitars this time. Yeah, so it was really it was more a musical challenge, challenging ourselves because there's more possibilities nowadays.
Was a concern of yours to balance the need to address these topics while producing music that is also accessible and captivating?
So you mean the balance between captivating and, and
The topics on the lyrics and the music being accessible and captivating was a concern of yours to blend those two universes.
well, I think the sound wise, it was really like no, because I think in combination with my type of voice, I think there's always a certain kind of softness to it. But the music was, of course, louder and more aggressive. And that combination, you have those two, I think, together always in our type of music, more or less. So it always comes together, to my opinion.
Among the themes addressed in the lyrics are the war in Ukraine and the fight for women's rights in Iran. How do you feel the band about taking a stance on these issues through music?
Well, we've always been politically engaged. Only the thing that we were always talking in metaphors, like the heart of everything, which is about William Wallace. So more historical things and events that you could also see happening in daily life. The Zero Fools was written while we had far right coming into our country and people voting for that in 2004. So a lot of, and also the Silent Force was inspired by that, but also far right was also before that, and was with Mother Earth already. Some turbulence in that corner. So a lot of songs are actually politically motivated, been motivated and engaged throughout time, but we never spoke about it that clearly unless people asked us, and they never asked us also. So people always thought it was about, fantasy stories and stuff like that, which was, of course, the image that we put up, visually on stage. But it was actually a lot of times politically engaged. But now we feel we're older, and we feel that the threat of Russia is coming so close to Europe, because it's a 2-hour flight from here where I live to Kiev. And realizing that it's in our backyard, that this war is going on, and that we feel that we have to be more clear about what our stand is. And I think I would applaud anyone who does that, because it's necessary for us as Europe, at least, to stand together and go against the aggression of Russia and help the Ukraine, because at this moment it's not looking good for the Ukraine.
Is there any aspect related to the album or the creative process that you would like to highlight?
A creative process I would like to highlight. Well, like I said, how we wrote this album was a bit different than normally, with different kind of guitars, which gave me the possibility to do more vocally also, and which resulted in a song like Bleed Out, which is more experimental than we've done before. And that was something that I really wanted to have, more experimental kind of stuff. For us, it's already experimental, and trying to make a new step forward again. And yeah, in the past we were very limited with my vocals, because I have a range, but I will never sound like a man, of course, and as aggressive. But because of that, the guitars having more strings now on it, and we can go lower even than we even did before, and that makes it also possible for me to sing certain different registers. Yes. Yeah, it's a challenge, and for me personally anyway, and for the guys also playing guitar, it was a challenge again from how, sometimes we played also guitar lines on keyboards, and we said to the guys in the band, like, okay, you go and play this on guitar now, and this, how, it's not possible, but we can do this, but we can't do this, but we can do this. Had to, yeah, it's easy to play sometimes for us, because some of us don't write that well on guitar, and it's easier on the keyboards with guitar sounds. But then it's impossible to play, because you have to stretch your fingers to a certain, there's a limit to that. Yeah, so we had to find together with the guitar players to make to come like in between kind of feel of the guitars, and that worked out really perfect to me.
You mentioned living in Yemen as a child. How have your personal experience in the Middle East influenced the way you address social and political issues in your life as a whole?
Well, although I like my time being in Yemen, I also, as young as I was, because I was 6 years old, but I went to an Arabic school for a certain time. I felt people are really super friendly to me, but I could always, it's like the things that people don't say, the way people look at you as a girl in general, not just me, but girls in general. That it's such a different world than where I come from the West. And when I was 6 years old, I immediately felt that difference. It's like how people dressed, it was different then, and also you can feel something without people saying it. So I always felt that women were oppressed, and because it's a different culture, it's a very masculine culture, where in that kind of country men can walk hand in hand, but women can't do anything, for instance. And it's so strange then. And for me it was like seeing the women in Iran, but also the whole generation of Iran, the younger people actually mostly trying to break through the regime. Like, they want to have more freedom, and the old generation, and of course the regime there, especially the ones in power, wants to keep everything the same, although the voice of the people is saying something different. If you want to believe, if you want to continue doing what they do and you're happy with it, it's okay for me. But if so many people want to have a different kind of way of life, more democracy or more choice of how they perceive religion, I'm very much for the voice of that. I think everybody should have that voice for themselves and be able to choose whatever they want to wear or how they want to look. But that's coming from the West, of course, and I emphasize, and I can imagine that. But also when I was living there, I felt really that there's a big difference between men and women, and that, as a woman, I think I really was really I was really impressed by the power of the women to have that. They knew they were going to go into jail or going to die when they said it. And also a lot of men who made music about it, just a song for their sisters and their mothers and you know, and also got hanged because of doing just music, just talking about it is not okay there. And I think, yeah, when I saw that on the news with Masa Amini being killed, that really hurt me in a way. It hurt me, like I've really felt it really was really, I was I was really sad about it. So I was like, yeah, you know, and it immediately resulted again in the song Bleed Out. It's like this girl just knowing where she's going. It's the last time she's going to do something good, but she knows she's not going to survive this. But she'll do it because she knows it's for a good cause and for other girls after her. And wow, you know, that's very inspirational.
How has been the response from the fans to to this new album?
Most people really like it, and of course, you know, it's a different sound again a bit. So people sometimes also have to adjust and really get into it. But mostly it was pretty positive, to my opinion. People also know that we change with every album a little bit, and it becomes a little bit different. And sometimes it's hard for people because a lot of times, of course, also me, when I listen to an album that I really love, I identify with music that I listen to, and if the next album is going to be very different, I also need to, you know, to get used to the new sound of the band that I like so much. So yeah, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work that much.
What do you hope the fans take away from Bleed Out in terms of message and experience?
Well, what I hope is that um, the thing is, what we wanted to do with this album, we are storytellers and we tell the news. We are inspired by things that happen around us, inspired by our own lives, so many things. And but especially when we're talking about, you know, like Iran or the Ukraine, it's for us important that people, you know, realize that a newspaper article, people forget about it the next day and they go on with life, which is natural. I do the same thing. But if we really want to have change for you know, if we really want to support certain people and certain countries, and then we need to keep on talking about it and bringing it into the news. And by writing the songs about it, I hope that people will start thinking about it a little bit more and maybe do something like a donation or, you know, start talking about friends with about the same topics to keep that topic alive, because people won't feel that alone in that country, because we all need to support each other a little bit in that direction, I believe. And not just a little bit, I think we need to support each other, and together we can make that change. Sometimes they need help from outside a bit as well.
The music video for Fool's Parade was filmed in the streets of Kiev. How was the experience of filming at an important landmark in the city during such a delicate time for Ukraine?
Well, it was already like, I couldn't go there by plane because there's no commercial flights, for instance. So we went to Poland and by airplane, and then we took a night train from Poland, from Chelm to Kiev. And so it was a long journey to get there. And when we got there, they gave us immediately the advice to put the air alerts app on our telephone and put in the region that we are in. So every time there was an alert coming, that we could get to a shelter safely. And also, so those kind of things are a bit strange when you're coming from the West, where you have normal life, and then you go to Kiev, and this is what you get as an extra thing that you're not used to. It's, you can really feel immediately that you're in a different country that is actually at war. And we had to go seek shelter a few times when we were there. And it was I had a lot of emotions being there. It's like sadness, as but also how, you know, also admiration for the people that are so resilient and so united to fight against the Russians. And that everybody that I talked to had lost somebody and at the war, and but also everybody had a story that happened to them. And so it's, everybody is also doing, next to their job, they donate a lot of money towards the army on a voluntary basis. So they're very united, and that they really see the need of giving money, because they know that's the only way they're going to win the war. Because a lot of times there are days in Ukraine they don't have ammunition to shoot even back, because there's not enough ammunition anymore. So these kind of things, that realization that yeah, they're on this, where they are at the point really now that they're going to lose this war if we're not gonna support, not just me, but I mean, like, everyone's gonna support them. They need support, they need money, they need air defense systems more than they have already to stay safe. But also they need ammunition. It's like a simple thing like that. They can't even defend themselves at certain days, and they just let it come because they know we can only use it once, and only when it's really dangerous, and not when it's far away, and then they don't shoot. It's like they just go by and let it come. And that
The
realization, yeah, that's really tough. And it brings the war closer to you. It gets under your skin. Although I was there only a few days, yeah, it did change something, even made it more intense, to my opinion.
the band announced that all the royalties from a Fool's Parade will be donated to Music Saves UA. How was this decision made, and when was it made?
Well, we already donated through other ways to the Ukraine, but we felt like if we're going to do a song about this war like this, together with a Ukrainian singer, then we would love to. And we also got in contact by that time with Music Saves Ukraine, and we felt like this is really a good organization because it gives, they try to help the musicians in the Ukraine, but also because music is very important in these heavy times for them. And sometimes music's all you have when you're feeling sad, or so it's like that what they do have is they use the money for refugees in their own country, to support them with clothing, food, and those kind of things, and the special needs they have. And there's shelters made for the refugees by that money, but also they try to help musicians to still play for like underground, have small concerts for people that need it. And they also have like classes organized for kids who have PTTS. So they do a lot of good things with that money. So we felt like this is a good organization to give our money to.
What are your expectations for the show at Summer Breeze Brazil?
Passion, energy. We haven't been there for 10 years, so bring it on.
What do you think sets Brazilian fans apart from the others?
Well, compared to Europe, I think you're more expressive. You're more, you dance more. You feel the music in every vibe of your body, I guess. And it's a bit like the Spanish, the Italian, and the Portuguese. It's you have that same kind of music feel, and which more north in Europe is a bit different, to my opinion, where people most of the time just listen and don't react that much to the music, except when the song is done, they clap, of course. But really actively moving and dancing, and really intensively, how you receive music is different, and I love that.
Can you give us a preview of what you expect from the performance?
Well, it's going to be a very diverse set list. I believe because we haven't been there for 10 years, that people want to have would like to have a variety of songs that we play, and that's what we're going to do. So I made a set list which covers a lot of different eras of With Invitation, and I just hope. And it was quite a puzzle to make a set list that works with all the albums, the time that we have to play. So yeah, I tried my best, and I hope you like it. It's going to be a lot of it.
Is there any particular artist or band of the lineup you would like to interact during the festival?
Interact? You mean like watch, or?
I mean, like having a jam session on stage, maybe.
Oh, jam session on stage. Well, we're going to do more shows in South America than just this one. And I'm just happy that I think we will need our time for other stuff than that, and probably also a lot of promotion. So if we would have been there longer, that would have been a great idea. And there are many bands on the bill that I would love to see. So between interviews and stuff like that, I hope to have a peek at certain bands that are playing.
As for my last question, the previous single of the album Ritual is described as inspired by the movie From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes.
Is it your favorite Tarantino movie?
Well, it was the first movie I saw from him, and that was the biggest shock that I had. It's like, oh my God, what happens? First it's going to be a road movie, and then all of a sudden all hell breaks loose, and everybody turns into a vampire, which I didn't see coming because I didn't read the review before it started. and we were like, whoa, that was crazy, you know. Loved it. Yeah. So it made me fall in love with his movies, and I saw every one of them. So, and yeah, I'm waiting for the new one when it's coming.
So what's your favorite so far?
Oh God. Django? Was it Django? Django. My name is the names. I'm really bad at titles. Is it Django?
Yeah, Django.
Yeah, I love that too. But I must say, you know, Dusk to Dawn really, you know, they're all cool. And Kill Bill was, of course, amazing. But yeah, I know. Which isn't good? That's a better question. Which one do we hate?
No.
No,
Okay. So, Sharon, we need to wrap things up. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
And I hope to meet you in São Paulo in a couple weeks.
Hope to see you there. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.